Welcome to today's special interview where we delve into the exciting world of vegan innovations. I am Kim Moore, Chief Storyteller for the Shiloh Institute. We are thrilled to have three remarkable guests who are making significant strides in the plant based movement. First, we have R.L. Brown representing Soul Veg, a beloved vegan restaurant with locations in Chicago and Atlanta. Aurel is not only passionate about promoting plant based cuisine, but also serves as a representative for Tiva Deli, a family owned company based in Tel Aviv, Israel. Established in 1983, Tiva Deli has evolved from its focus on soybean based products like soy milk and tofu to producing over 40 diverse items, including burgers, seitans, schnitzels, and more. Joining us is Yoakin Ben Israel, originally from Dimona and now residing in Atlanta, with a rich background that includes living in Kenya. Yoakin has dedicated himself to building vegan establishments that reflect the diverse cultures he experienced, fostering community and sustainability through plant based living. And finally, we have Prince Amiel, a Chicago based entrepreneur and founder of Soy Ava Farms. Prince has played a pivotal role in establishing the vegan lifestyle in Dimona, contributing to the growing recognition of plant based diets as a viable and vibrant option for communities. Together, these three visionaries bring a wealth of experience and insight into the transformative power of veganism. Today, we'll explore their innovative approaches and cultural significance of their work, and how holistic diets can contribute to peaceful living across borders. Let's dive in. Well, welcome all of you. So, my first questions are for how do the unique culinary traditions of Chicago and Atlanta influence the menu at Soul Veg? And how do you incorporate those flavors into your vegan offerings?
Good morning, everybody. And want to first acknowledge Prince Amiel on the call and let Prince know I thank him for being a pioneer in this space of healthy eating as well as healthy living. For those, and I don't want to go deep, but for those that don't know Prince Amiel, he was pivotal in helping establish a lot of the lifestyle change that we have been experiencing over these last 40 years. Him coming and starting from Bermuda. He can tell his own story, but I just wanted to just acknowledge that because that helped create my reality as well that I'm living right now. Um, the what helped here in Chicago is I would have to first go back to the history. My dad, which is Prince Asiel, started this vegan brand, this vegan space here in the Midwest 40 plus years ago. He said he was reading an Ebony magazine, which don't really exist anymore, but it was a real popular magazine back in the 80s. And he said in that he read an article that said that African Americans were suffering from all of the top illnesses that existed. And the list went on as had blood pressure, diabetes, we was having strokes, we was having cholesterol problems, and we know the list only gets longer. And he said when he read that, he realized that all of those things was health related.
Mm.
And he, by him recognizing that, he said, well, I've changed my diet and I realized the benefits that it did for me and it gave to me. And he said, why don't he do that? Meaning create something that he would be able to give back to God's people. And he said, a small voice in his head said, well, you're not in the restaurant business. And he said another voice said, well, you can be. And then he said another voice also told him that you don't know nothing about the food business. And then he said another voice said, well, you can know something about the food business. And he said he wound up listening to the voice that told him that he could rather than he didn't. And he said that gave him his motivation to create this brand called Soul Vegetarian back in the 80s. And so to pull us up to today, to the question you just asked, we had a lot of inspiration from the city at large here when you say the city of Chicago, because the city of Chicago is a really culinary city as New York is. So, as well as LA, but New York to the world, most people know New York as being a culinary city as well. And we don't play about our food here. We take it serious. We like good, tasty food. It's just that simple. So by us creating a vegan brand here in the city of Chicago, we had real challenge in the sense of answering and providing the citizens of the city quality food as well as great flavor. And that, to be extremely honest, took time. But being that we were serious about it, I believe, this is my own belief, that that's what made the citizens patient with us and gave us some time with trial and error. And because we did not stop, we was able to arrive at this place today as being a business for the last 40 years that's been able to sustain itself. So with that, I would say that we just been extremely happy and thankful to the city for being patient, and we're going to continue to do what's necessary to make sure that we stay innovative, as well as creative, as well as thoughtful, though, in what we put out, so that we make sure that it connects with the people.
Creativity. Tiva Deli is an international company and it has expanded significantly since its inception in 1983. What are some key innovations or products that you are particularly proud of, and how do they reflect current trends in the vegan market?
We just had one of the founders out here for the last 2 months. He came, he was here throughout the summer with me. His name is Ben Kolaya. He's known, he's recognized in Israel as Minister Ben Kolaya. He's a part of the African Hebrew Israelite community. And one of the things that we're most proud of is the burger line, because we do about 20 different kinds of burgers at Tiva Deli, and we have about 8 on the shelves over there. We're in about 800 stores throughout the country of Israel with our burgers. And so we're looking to expand over here. That's why he was here over the summer, because we're looking to bring some of those products, but mainly the burgers over here, because one of the things we wind up realizing is that America is a burger, pizza, chicken eating country. So, so because we've been able to master the burgers over the last 20 plus years of making burgers, that's one of the innovative things that we're most proud of is our burger line, as well as the seitan, which is seitan that's made from whole wheat gluten. We said that that's the protein from flour, so it has a source of protein in it. So we're proud of that as well, because we've been able to take what most people would know as wheat and been able to transform it into what's now being labeled as meat substitutes, meaning that it gives you the same idea and the texture that you would normally get from eating regular meat. And because yes, we changing and we suggesting that people change the way they eating, but because we know that that takes time, that we've been able to create some things that would give them the sense that they're eating with things that they've been used to, but yet it gives a different kind of benefit. So those are the two things that we're most proud of. So I would say again, our burgers as well as our Satan products that are made from the whole wheat flour. So those two things we most proud of because we just did not create an item as a substitute, but we also had in mind creating an item that would give you the health benefits that's necessary as well while you're consuming it.
Wonderful. So you just kind of touched on the challenges of promoting a vegan diet, which have to do with taste. And Chicago is a meat and potatoes town like Detroit, like many Midwest cities. What are some of the challenges that you faced in promoting veganism, and how have you turned those challenges and opportunities for growth?
So I would start it from the back. The one of the ways that we've been massaging the idea of eating healthy with the people is letting them know that just add, you know, not taking away anything because if we know anything about the human, we don't want anybody taking nothing from us, even from a toddler. We go and snatch our toy back. I got a 1 year old daughter now. You take something and she running and she taking it back and she's just one. So now as we get older, you know, we really don't want nobody taking nothing from us. So we came up with an idea that's called just add. So because what happens is you could only take so much of anything. So if you add just a little bit of healthy to whatever you're doing, some of the bad is going to automatically do what? Start to falling off.
Mhm.
So we say, if you like chicken, eat chicken. If you like fish, eat fish. If you like steak, eat steak. The only thing we ask you to do is to add something healthy to that, some greens, some broccoli, some cauliflower, some cabbage, a salad, some asparagus. And what you would realize is as you add more of those things, you first your palate would start to change.
Mhm.
And then you would wind up realizing that you don't want as well as need what you've been consuming, which
Mhm.
is the things that we suggesting that you don't need. So we're not telling you to get away from nothing. We just telling you to add. So that's how we've been able to address that. The other part of the question is that here in Chicago, yes, it's been challenging, but being that we make sure that we connect more with the people first because we realize that it's about a relationship. We've been able to understand what food really is outside of something you consume. You see, food is conversation, food is relationship. You see, food is family, food is understanding. And when you understand that, which we've been able to do over the years, we took a different angle, which we started to develop in relationships with people. And then we wind up introducing them to the food. So we took the back and then led them to the front, rather the front to the back,
Mhm.
because we had to, you know, just be smart about it. So, and that has worked really well with us here in Chicago because Um, because you are in the Midwest as well, Sister Kim, that trust is everything with people, and we've been able to develop that level of trust with them. So I would say that those are two of the ways that we've been able to connect, but yet stay connected with our customers and with the citizens of the city of Chicago, being as big as it is, because we have a city that has millions of people, and by us being able to sustain ourselves over these 40 years, that had to take a lot to do so. And that's what I would say that it took. It took a lot of serious relationships, and it took a lot of people understanding that we're not taking anything from them, but yet we're giving them something. So
Mhm.
that's why we call our hot, cold bar not just a salad bar. We call it a live bar.
Mm.
Because the food is it's in its original state, so it's giving you life, and that's why we don't say it's to die for. We say it's to live for, because
Mhm.
it's giving you something. You see, and anytime you're giving something, you see, it's a little bit easier to accept whatever somebody is bringing to you. So that's its account.
All right. Thank you. Yeo Hakeem. I might be pronouncing it wrong.
Yo, yo,
Yo Hakeem.
Yeah,
yo,
ho, yeah.
Yakin.
Yo Yakin. Thank you. Having lived in different countries, including Kenya, how have those experiences shaped your approach to veganism and the establishments you've created?
Well, first giving our praises to the Holy One of Israel, great, great Prince, my brother RL, health and divine peace. Shalom again. Um, I've been blessed to bake, to cook, and to demonstrate on, like you said, multiple continents and countries. And I realized that we have a unique preposition to offer. When you're in Kenya and the cauliflower is so cheap, and they're trying to put more KFCs or introduce that Western um, cuisine,
Mm,
and we take some cauliflower and batter it right before them. They were so amazed. They were like, do that again. What is that you did with the cauliflower? Because we're not used to that. And just like RL said, it's inviting. You know, you it's a form of art, and when you lay it before somebody, again, it's inviting. Instead of uh, being extreme veganists, we'll go to the institutions and say, the food that you serve is bad. No, we just invite you to our table, to our culture, and see our way of life, and let you eat of the tree. you know
awesome, awesome. What strategies do you employ to engage the local communities in Atlanta and Demona? And how do you encourage the adoption of a vegan lifestyle amongst diverse populations?
Well, it's a testament with just the way that we look. Usually, we get the question, um, so, I mean, how old are you? Or is that your mother? Is that your girlfriend? And back growing up in Demona, uh, the local authorities used to ask us, where do we bury our dead?
Mm,
Because they had people dying in their communities at a rapid pace, and we didn't. So they used
mm.
to ask us, where do we bury our dead? And so that's just a testament to us maintaining this physical temple that the Creator has given us. So just different uh, testimonials like that all day.
Have you seen the vegan community become more popular in Atlanta? I know that there are popular
Absolutely.
restaurants like Slutty Vegan and others, but is there a wave of vegan restaurants coming to that area?
Absolutely. So I've been in and out of Atlanta for the past 10 years, and things have changed exponentially since I've been here. And the plant-based, so vegan is just one of the levels, but
Hmm.
there are higher levels. Plant-based society and community, just becoming aware of what you put in your temple and what you've been taught to put in your temple, you know. So a lot of conversation and dialogues and institutions built around that. And then again, we also have seen an increase of dialysis. Uh, um,
It looks like we lost him momentarily. Ariel, let me ask you before we go to Prince Amiel. Um, in the African American community, there's a lot of interest, and I'm speaking specifically in Detroit. There's a lot of interest in veganism, in healthy eating, but there's a misconception that it's expensive, that it doesn't taste good. Is there work around education in the communities around veganism? And you can answer RL and then you as well, Joaquin.
I'm just yeah. So um, first, what I like to tell people is first, it's not expensive. We just think it's expensive because we pay for whatever we want, and that's just the truth. We could afford whatever we want, and because we know how to make it happen for things that we want. So it's just the value that's put on it. So, and most times we don't understand the value of a healthy eating or a healthy lifestyle. So therefore we try to put a tag, a monetary tag on it to say, well, it's too expensive. But if we understood the value of our life, we would then understand that it's not that expensive. So how we go about educating people about that here is, I mean, whether it's on platforms, conversations like this, or whether it's on it's in person, whether it's in person, we just try to help people understand that, look, you are what you eat. So if you say that you trust and believe in yourself, that you take your body, which is some people call a temple, to be holy, then these are the necessary things that we suggest you do for it. And we take that story all the way back to the original book, which is Genesis 1 and 29, where we say God gave us our outline of a diet there, where he say the fruits of the trees and the herbs of the land should be food for you. And then after we fell as a people, as individuals, that then he says, well, the fowl of the air and the fish of the sea you could also consume. But that's after we fell in his eyes that he gave us that diet that we could eat those things. And that's where everybody going. And that's what everybody is doing now. So to answer your question about the educational part, we always try to make sure that we tell people and connect people to the reality that everything that you have in you, you have in the earth as well. You got iron and you have zinc and you have potassium and all of those things that your body is made up. It has in the earth. So that means what your body needs is in the earth as well. So we try to give that kind of background, at least so that it could make some sort of sense where they can connect to it. They may not understand it all because there's some deep going into, that's a little bit more conversation, that's a little bit more research, but at least they would get some kind of baseline where they would be able to operate from. to um to want to know more. Again, all of these things is not a one conversation as well. So we don't try to tell people that just because we said it that that's what it is. We try to encourage people. We try to encourage those individuals to go and do some personal research and see what they need for themselves and what their body need, because everybody have different blood types as well. Everybody been the genetics and the genes that we all have, they're different. So some people may need more of one thing than others. And we try to make sure that we explain those things too, because we have experienced that some people would say, well, you told me to do this and I did that and I wind up breaking out. Or you told me to eat this and I wind up running off.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not a shoe that fits all on the eating everything vegan, but it is a one shoe fits all when you're talking about lifestyle change. And that's what I want everybody to understand today is we're talking about a lifestyle change rather than a diet.
Mm-hmm. Yo, Yo King, did you want to respond to the question around education about a vegan lifestyle? How
Well,
much work is being done in that area?
I'll take it right from where our L left off saying lifestyle. If you have a lifestyle, and if there's a formula for lifestyle, then there has to be a formula for death style. And there
Mm,
can only be two ways. Again, we were given also in that same garden two options: choose life and live, or you can surely die.
mm,
And so, apparently, the devil is in the detail, and he's a great marketer and he's a great advertiser. So he make death look so good that even when we thought we were choosing life, we went to choose something else. And for those who say that eating to live is expensive, again, uh, putting any and everything in your temple is more expensive, I think, in the long term. The pains that you have, the sleepless nights, the toothaches, those different things are expensive, not only to your pocket, but to your entire being. I mean, your consciousness, your balance. You know, and if you look at the peaceful animals, the silverback gorilla, it's not expensive for him to eat. He goes to an apple tree and just take off an apple, and he just discard the seeds, and then another tree grows, and then he has so many more apples to eat. So
mm.
it's really simple. We make things complicated. The creator designed this thing perfectly when he designed it. But we were smarter than him, just like we chose death in the garden. We're still choosing other ways. And by choosing other ways, we also call ourselves smart and say that it's expensive to do the way that was best for us. We didn't design ourselves, we were designed. And so we go back to the manual, just look at what it said to do in order for this thing to function in the way that it was supposed to function, and we all succeed.
Awesome. Prince Amiel, as the founder of Soil Eve Farms, what initiatives have you introduced to promote sustainable agriculture and vegan living in Dimona and other places? And what impact have you seen?
He's muted.
Yeah, his is muted.
Okay. First of all, I'd like to thank you for bringing me on the platform and bringing us on the platform. And I'd be remiss if I didn't say how proud as an elder I am of our youth who are carrying on the tradition and the traditions of our culture. Being the African Hebrew Israelite nation of Jerusalem, being in Israel or the Holy Land for almost 60 years and sustaining ourselves. And one of the things that the Israelis said is, yeah, that they were great innovators and are great innovators, but they said that when we came to Israel, they found out that we were extremely innovative because we had our own lifestyle. We had created our own dietary system, health system. We delivered our own babies, which we still do to today. And so the challenge on the vegan, as it relates to the vegan lifestyle, has been myriad. And the reason being, which you came sort of mentioned, is that places like McDonald's and Burger King and the milk industry and all of the food industries that come out of the Eurocentric paradigm, they have unlimited marketing budgets,
Mm.
and they're really slick in their marketing because I don't know if you remember years ago, we don't consume anything from animals. And I don't know if you remember that LeBron James and the Serena Williams, there was a whole marketing strategy called the milk lip.
Mm.
If y'all remember that, and what they showed them, because they were promoting milk and using celebrities to enhance the marketing and promotion. And the same thing goes if you look at all of the the marketing um, on television, especially television. You see, they use important people, or they use people who are actors and singers and dancers and all of that. This is, and I have to say this from my perspective because I deal with international affairs and community national development and all of that. And I have to say, first of all, you have to look at food in terms of from a nationalistic perspective. Food is foundational to the existence of any community or any country or any state. Um, if you take away the food, I don't even have to explain it. You take away the food, what do you have?
Mhm. Mhm.
That's how important food is. But we we have been lacking the ability to feed ourselves because we actually have been fed by the culture that had oppressed us and still has many of us under oppression. And the other thing that Ariel and Jehoiakim uh, reflected on was the reality that uh, they put out that eating vegan is too expensive. But actually, it's not in terms of your long term health. You have
Mhm.
to gauge and see what is the long term reality of you drinking milk, eating meat, all of those things. So the things that Ariel mentioned about the diabetes and the high blood pressure and all of that, they have used high profile people and high profile black people to push these concepts, these culinary concepts. And so our people don't stand a chance. Because if they go somewhere and they can get a bucket of chicken for $10 or something, and you know, you, if you have some health understanding, then you know those things are not good for you,
Mhm.
right? As a matter of fact, and you probably know this, but as a matter of fact, a lot of our women get these things called cysts, and the cysts are usually in their armpits, right? A lot of people didn't know that they were putting chemicals, they were injecting uh, chemicals in the chicken wings and the chemicals in the chicken wings were giving our sisters cysts because the body's way of trying to push those substances out. And
Mm,
a lot of our women love chicken, especially chicken wings. Y'all, you know that, right? But all of this is an act of war. When uh, the powers that be, when they negotiate a war, the first thing they do is they find out where the food is, where the farms are, so that,
mm,
so that they can take over the farms and do two things. One is to make it non-accessible to the people, and the other thing is to feed their troops. And when you study war, that is one of the major scenarios because the people who can't eat can't fight. So now, in our situation, the people who eat the worst food can't fight because there's so many illnesses and distresses that come from eating. How is it that almost everybody has high blood pressure, diabetes, and all of these things? Because it comes from the lifestyle of consuming not just meat, but just consuming garbage. And the so what we decided to do, and I took it upon myself because we have to continually evolve to be able to sustain our own lives. We
mhm,
don't have food security. So if
mm,
something in the food realm, uh, we're going to suffer first. And as a matter of fact, there have been interruptions, and many of our people are now shopping out of the dollar stores and all that kind of stuff, and they're not getting nutritious food. We look at things from farm to table. And so, in the early days of the development of the nation, we have our own farm. So every week or twice a week or whatever, vegetables were delivered to the people that was grown from our own hands and our own spirit of health and life. And that is the key, the health and life. But I don't want people to skip over the fact that we've been at war for the last 460 years. It's a wonder that we're still around. Matter of fact, they are asking the question, like Ahoya Kim said, if you look at some of the children uh, in that come out of our community, people always ask how old they are because we have people who look like they're 15, 16 years old in their 40s, and this is
mm,
real. Matter of fact, National Geographic uh, in Israel did a study on us. And first of all, they found out, I mean, the Meharry Institute and National Geographic, Meharry Institute in Tennessee, medical institution, they had found that we had arrested the aging process. But
mm,
they're not going to market and promote that because it's an act of war. They don't want the people to be well. They don't want the people to be healthy. Now, some of you may say, well, you know, uh, why would somebody do that? Why would somebody have that kind of thinking or whatever? Well, that's not what you're saying. What you're saying is you don't think like that. And so, since you don't think like that, there are other people who do think like that, destroyers of life. And so, I'm saying all this to say that when I first began to help develop the nation, the requisite was you either had to be a vegan or you agreed to be one. And I'm saying, over 50 some years, I've been a vegan and introduced people to vegans and helped open restaurants and all that. People wouldn't see me as and see us as soldiers in a war, negotiating a war. Yeah, but we are nonetheless. And so, um, uh, not elongating it any further. I just want to end with this. So Livia. So what we did, we had farm in Israel. Now in the East, we are settled and foundational in the East, but we're also settled and foundational in the West. And you are part of that foundation. Coming out of Detroit, because Detroit and Chicago, most of the people who went on this trek to develop ourselves in the Holy Land, and it came out of those cities.
Mm-hmm.
So all of you all and all these people who put their hands in the handle are the real heroes in this war story. And uh, so livia, soil, live, yeah.
Hmm. Awesome. So, yes, it would be very actually the expense is more to the corporations that would lose money if uh, communities went, to a sole vegan lifestyle. So that is, I believe, like you, that is the reason for not encouraging it. Although you do see, a lot more offerings in the space in grocery stores today than several years ago. How can community gardens or urban farming initiatives promote vegan diets and food security?
See, it's a matter of consciousness. And what I will say is the reason why these things are elevating and becoming more visible is because people are becoming more conscious. So we're
Mm-hmm.
going into a season where consciousness is growing exponentially. I mean, it's not going to stop. And uh, the communities have to now look at health uh, and taste.
Mm-hmm.
So you might like some grease and some chicken flesh or whatever, but you have to look at what are the health benefits of that. It
Mm-hmm.
may taste good to you, but somebody convinced us that putting some oil and some heat to some meat, created something that's so good. You go places sometimes, they say, "Hey, get the steak because it's great." I'm saying those of us who are conscious are saying, "What's great about the steak?" Because you killed the animal, you understand, and now you can put it on the plate. If you take away the salt and the pepper and the oil, I ask people, "Would you eat the meat?" And most people would say no. But I can say, hey, you can go pluck an apple off the tree and eat it. And it tastes sweet or whatever, but it has medicinal properties. Because every time you eat fruit, you're actually drinking water. Most
Mm-hmm.
people don't know that. You understand? So adding fruit to your system, because everybody thinks that the actual what they call water is the best water, but it's not the best water, not in this world. You understand? And we should be consuming more fruits so that we can stay hydrated. Most people
Mm-hmm.
don't know that. And all I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying now is that since consciousness is growing, a lot of people are putting money into advertising who traditionally didn't do that. We just opened up restaurants and we just went for it. And marketing and promotion wasn't even a part of the scenario. Matter of fact, when we were all over the world and we found out that uh, everywhere we go where there was no vegan consciousness, we couldn't even eat.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of our restaurants came out of the need for us to have places to eat. So when I go to a city, I can go to our restaurant. I go
Mm-hmm.
to another country, I can go to our restaurant. And so the whole reality of Tiva in Israel. uh, prompted Tel Aviv to put out a clarion concept a few years ago, saying that they were the first vegan city. Now all we're saying is y'all got to tell the truth. Y'all got all of this stuff from us. You understand what I'm saying? We were the largest and the most prestigious suppliers of vegan products in the history of the Holy Land. You understand? So uh, we just had to put them on point because we're saying, no, y'all really can't say that. We can share it, certainly, but you got to give props to whom props is due. And this we've been pushing this whole vegan thing when it wasn't even thought of.
Right.
And so we've been pushing the envelope. Matter of fact, I was talking about drinking water. In the early days, we used to have water carriers, and how people started drinking drinking water. A lot of times was they'd ask us, "Why you got that thing on your shoulder like that?" And say, "Hey, we got to drink some water." And,
Mm,
and people started, and the whole bottled water industry began to expand. All I'm
right.
saying to you is they've been watching us. They've
Mm,
been watching us all of these years. And it was earlier, um, RL was talking about the burger. You know, so we had the first vegan burger. It was called the
Megadine,
yeah, the Megadine, and then we
lentil
had
burger.
the lentil burger, right? And then we went on. We had all kinds of burgers, right? Now this world, and a lot of people really don't understand this, man. They know that we are innovative. They know because you can go back to all the major inventions, and many of them have been created by people who were under duress and people who were in slavery. And we were just creating a world because, for the most part, we say we're African Americans, but we really didn't know where we came from. You understand? So people began to define for us and say whatever they wanted to say, and but we had to hold. You know how they say in Christianity, you had to hold up the blood-stained banner. It was just like that because they sought our lives at every step of the way. And what we had to do, we had to keep ourselves alive and mitigate a war that our people didn't even understand. And
absolutely.
so having said that, so live, yeah, so live, yeah,
So,
farm.
Olivia, got it. Got
And,
it.
and, and when,
Definitely innovation out of necessity. Yes. So,
you
my
got
final two questions are for the both of you. Looking ahead, what trends do you foresee shaping the future of vegan cuisine, both locally and internationally? And how do you plan to adopt your businesses to those changes?
well, one of the things is that we learned that we have to begin to focus more on marketing and promotion
Mm,
now, because in the early days, uh, the people used to talk about us, but they talked about us in terms of our mac and cheese, vegan mac and cheese, and greens, which all over the world people talk about that. We haven't. We are going into the realm now where we're going to do as much advertising as the uh, people from the meat eating world. We're going to have to do it, but it the horse is out of the stable now. It's running, and you can't put it back in the stable. We're gone. It's happening. This consciousness is expanding, and people want to live, and they want to understand. where they come from, and they want to understand what are the alternatives to an oppressive dark world, and they're asking those questions, and they're looking for answers. And all we're saying is that, hey, we had the same questions and we're looking for the same answers, and found out that if we didn't learn to do for ourselves, which was the experiment of us leaving here, going to Liberia for 2.5 years, and then going into Israel, where we know that we would be in a conflict, because here we talking about we're the children of Israel, and the people around the country say they're the children of Israel, and we saying, hey, we're the real children, please stand up, and having to come to terms with, look, we're not going to let any longer these titles and these designations and all that have been put upon us to continue to keep us from the human family. We have to create an environment, because we're talking about the peace process. Cease for peace. We're not just talking about cease for peace in Israel, we're talking about cease for peace on the planet. But what are we talking about ceasing? Ceasing negative, violent activities.
Well, we're gonna get to that in a moment. But I would like to ask the same question to you, Yo Yakin.
Yes.
Um, what innovations are you seeing locally and internationally, and how do you plan to adopt those into your businesses to as well?
Yes. When I went to culinary school about uh, 11 years ago, I sought to learn from the institutions how to take my vegan culinary bacon to the next level. And they didn't have the answers for me. So they was able to give me a foundation in culinary, but not in plant-based culinary or veganism. And so now I'm seeing more options available, and me myself, I'm also helping to launch those options into the market and help others spread that that knowledge again, so that they could do for selves. You know, you go into the supermarket and you see products that last for 6 months. If you are plant based and if you eat to live, nothing that goes in the body was meant to last 6 months. You don't see an animal kill, even the ones that do kill. You don't see them kill a prey and leave it there for 6 months, or
Hmm.
they devour it right there and discard of it. And that's how we should do. So um, less of the supermarkets and more of the farmers markets and those type of, again, like you said, farm to table, because that's the best way in order to have the blessings. What are the blessings? Long life, health, happiness, or pockets of happiness in his life. So
Absolutely. Now, my final question is about holistic diets and peace. And Prince Amiel touched on this previously. But in your opinion, how can a holistic approach to diet and nutrition contribute to peaceful living and community cohesion across different cultures?
I could start. So they had this documentary called "What the Health," and that documentary did a lot to those who were unconscious about the process of their so-called food. Um, I mean, the brother on there went to the different institutions that co-sign, that back, and that subsidize all of these different industries, but people didn't know. So if you had to go out right now in 2024, 2025, and you had to catch the chicken and chop his head off and cook it yourself and then season it all, most people would naturally just be plant-based, you
Mm.
know? So uh, just by educating people on how we've been coerced to take this, and what we call it the slave diet because that's what was given to us. We arrived here on the bottom of ships, and we probably didn't eat like this before we got here, and they used to give us the parts of the animals that they didn't want, but because of our creative genius, and we were able to turn chitlins into something that everybody liked. So just regaining our minds and understanding that we have a temple and a higher purpose for our temple. And then again, when we were given dominion in the garden, we were walking with the lions and the animals, and even the beasts of the field had the same lifestyle or diet that we had. And so we want to get back to that. There's a video on YouTube of Haile Selassie with a lion in his yard. So it's not far fetched. It's still in a modern age caught on camera where lions walk with us. And to see that type of man who could walk with a lion or swim with an alligator, that's far fetched, but it can happen. That's the lion and the lamb relationship. That's peace, if you will.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Prince Amiel, same question
And
to
the other
you.
thing, yeah, and the other thing is the concept is not to kill to eat, because
Mm-hmm.
the concept of killing other life forms, you know what I'm saying? You absorbing the pain and the suffering of animals, and you go back and you look at the farms and how they string up on hooks, how they put animals on hooks and bleed them, and all that. I mean, hey, it's like he said, if you had to do that to eat, you'd probably go find an apple somewhere.
Right.
The reality is, you can't kill and say you're peaceful, because it's an oxymoron. If you had to
Mm.
kill your food, you're taking a life. And scientists refer to all life forms as species. So there are different species. There are species that they haven't even discovered yet. But there's so many species on the planet. These are life forms. And when you look at the human family, the act of killing has helped foster violence on the planet. And now you're seeing violence is at an all-time high because there's so many toxins and poisons in the environment that these things are working on you internally. So some things that you may think that you would never do, you could wind up doing in a culture that's based upon violence and terror and all of those things. And you do not want to absorb that energy. And that's the key. You don't want to absorb energy that says that you need to be coercive, that you need to be violent, that you need to assert yourself against something else. All of that is the psychology of war. And so
Mm.
we're gonna cease for peace. Yeah, a lot of things we have to do. Not just say that we're peaceful, but you have to be peace. And I'm just saying, I mean, people can do whatever it is they want to do, but I mean, if you want a better world, you have to follow this prescription for a better world, because there is a prescription, and it starts with the food source. Now, I'll say it starts with the food source, but the initial reality is the state and the changing of the mind.
Yes. Yes. Uh, is there social media channels for those watching this program that would like more information about your farm, Prince Amiel, or the work that you do, Yoyakin? Is there social media channels that you could share?
Yes, Soul Veg Atlanta, just like Soul Veg Chicago. That's where we are here. And Hebrew Bakes is another extension of that. That's the bakery department that I run.
And for you, Prince?
And for me, it's uh I would say it's Olivia19.com.
So
So
Olivia
you go
19.
19, it should open the portal should open up. You see the farm and some of the things that we grow and develop out on the farm. A lot of people come out to the farm and say, "Where are the animals?" Look, no, we don't do animals. We're vegan. We literally don't do animals. And so when you come to the farm, you can't. And RL's back. When you come to the farm, did you see any animals, RL?
He's muted, I
No, we
believe.
don't. Yeah. So just so we know, I'm at our second location, which is called Vegan Now to Go. And yeah, we didn't. I didn't mention me and Prince Amiel. We in the farming business collective because we realize in order to do things, you should do it collectively. That way, we can support each other in the things that I can't catch or recognize that he will, and vice versa. So that's why it's important that we team up on all of these kinds of ventures that's necessary for our people and for the community. And so here in Chicago, you can find us at two different platforms. So we have Soul Vet City, which most people can go to the website and tap in Soul Vet City. And you can follow us on all our social medias, whether it's Facebook, whether it's Instagram, as well as the website. And then we have Vegan Now to Go, which we just relaunched about a week and a half ago. We closed for about 30 days, kind of to go back to the starting board. And since then, we've had great support from the community. And so that's Vegan Now to Go. We created a new menu, and this model is a little bit different than our original model, which is Soul Bed City. This is more fast and go, quick, fast and go model. That's why our tagline is real food fast, which is right here behind me, real food fast. And I would love for people to check us out and follow us on all the different social medias so that you all can keep up with different things. We're going to be sharing different information about whether it's cooking classes, whether it's giving you a tour of the farm, which Prince Amiel talked about, going out there and just seeing the soil and seeing the land. Because one of the things that I've realized too is sight is real important, and they talk a lot about environment, and that's really a part of sight, but sight is real important in what you see, because things that you can see, you wind up realizing that you could attain it. You believe that you could have that for you. So I just wanted everybody on the line, those that's looking and those that's searching, and the thing about peace is you are what you eat. It's really just that simple. So if you're eating dead things, you're really dead. I mean, I just have to just say it that simple. You're eating things that give life and things that are alive, then you are very much alive. It's what you do once you have that life. But you should have a starting point, and meaning you are what you eat. Put some good, healthy, lively things in your body. More than likely, you're going to make great choices and great decisions when it comes down to doing things that's necessary first for self. And then when you talk about treat your neighbor as thyself, that you would then extend that same behavior to those that come behind you or that you interact with. So that would be my closing remarks for today in this discussion. And I want to thank you again for having me and having us and hosting this level of conversation, because when we're talking about peace in the world, this is how it starts, and this is where it looks like I would suggest. And thank you, Prince. Thank you, Yo Yakeem. And if it ain't the famous Kim, thank you, Kim.
Well, I just want to say thank you to all of you gentlemen. This has been a wonderful discussion. Let me add that you can find out more about Tiva Deli by visiting their website at tivadeli.com. And you can find out more about the Cease for Peace Now initiative by visiting ceaseforpeacenow.com. Thank you.
Thank you, Kent.